You are now tuning in to the Val and Val Show, where conversation is art. Conversation is art. Conversation is art. You should chime in. Ain't no telling what to spark on the Val and Val Show. Ain't no telling the Val and Val Show. You know, ain't no telling where we go on the Val and Val Show. Ain't no ceiling, cause the art of conversation is the flow. It's that creativity available when we speak, available in our homes, available in the streets. We just trying to get it sparking and take it a little deeper. Keep it casual while fireside chatting with our people. Yeah, we take it a little deeper. It get hot when we fireside chatting with our people. Cause conversation is art. Conversation is art. You should chime in. Ain't no telling what'll spark on the Val. The Val and Val Show. The Val and Val Show.
It's the Val and Val Show. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, Valerie?
Look, I'm still bad at sinuses. I need somebody to lay hands on me because I can't seem to shake this thing.
Where's Terrell?
Terrell ain't no physician. What you talking about? He got to stay in his skill set.
Terrell can lay hands on you and knock you out.
I'm not fooling with you. With you. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. We're so grateful to be here again this evening, and to Valerie, thank you for holding it down last week in my absence. I really appreciate that. Hello there, LaShree. We are the beautiful people. Thank you. And
and you are too.
Yes. One of the things that I want to remind us of is we need to be prayerful for our city of Birmingham and for other cities as well. But we had a 4-year-old girl to get shot last night, and she is shot in the back twice, and she's at the Children's Hospital. And we're having a long-standing challenge right now with shootings and all this sort of stuff. So if you have a child, a son, a daughter who's in a gang, and you are listening to us tonight, please advise them to put that gun down and pick up a book and try to read. Because they're obviously out here trying to shoot. And unfortunately, they're not very good at it because they're shooting innocent people. So let's be prayerful for our young people, males and females, and move forward to try to make sure that everybody has a good, fruitful life.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what we're going to deal with. We have a phenomenal young educator that's going to come on and share with us why what Valton just said about picking up a book and read is vital to dismantling what's going on. And it's going to take all of us. All of us are going to have to get involved. Although we're scattered out, we have got to reunite our villages. And I am really excited because this young lady has a connection to my hometown, Atmore, Alabama, aka Freemanville community. Yeah, down in the South.
The what community?
Freemanville.
What the heck is Freemanville?
That's right. We were free. And the majority of the land is black owned.
Well, it's so funny because Freemanville is near Atmore, and Atmore got a prison down there. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and everybody's in the prison, probably from up here.
Probably
I want you to know that. They not there because look, they had to work hard down at Atmore.
But they ain't free
for crime.
But if you down there in the prison system, you ain't free. But you just happen to be down there in Freemanville. I understand. I get it. Okay. All right.
And actually, our guest tonight, she's an educator, and she is I would say a child advocate for making sure that Black kids are able to read, that they are literate. But in thinking about how to introduce her, I cannot introduce her without telling you a little bit of her background, where she comes from, okay? She comes from a list of trailblazers. I'm going to start with her mother first, even though that's not the oldest sister. Her mother, Cynthia Frazier, is a nurse, graduate of UAB, worked at the VA hospital for over 30 years, taking care of our servicemen and women. Then the oldest sister, Sarah Giles, she is the first Black graduate of, I'm going to say, the UA/UAB School of Nursing, because she started at UA and then they transferred to Birmingham. The first Black trailblazer, okay? And then the younger sister, Eleanor Fisher, she's a nurse anesthetist. So look, trailblazer. Now, y'all may be thinking, how she get to be an educator? I'm going to let her tell you all about that. So come on in.
Come on in. Come on in.
Hey.
Hey, what's happening?
And as you see her shirt, it say, I see me. So let's start out about that. Let's talk about that. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and tell us what I see me is all about.
Okay, as you said, I'm Devon Frazier, the founder and CEO of I See Me. I come from as you said, a very heavily involved family in the healthcare field. How I got into education, I've literally known I wanted to be an educator since the first grade. My birthday was late, so I had one of those moms who, I had gone through kindergarten. She didn't want me to have to do kindergarten again, so I started a school, first grade, could not read, and I struggled. And I had a great teacher, Miss Howard, that didn't embarrass me and make me feel really good about myself. And I thought I wanted to make other children feel this way. So in first grade, I was always like I wanted to be an educator. My mom tried her best to get me into nursing. Yeah, you can do pediatric nursing. You can still be with the children, but I always knew education was my calling. And so now 21 years in, I began as an educator in I began first in Bessemer. I taught in Bessemer for a couple of years, and then left Bessemer, was in Fairfield for 17 years, and left Fairfield, went to the county for a couple of years, and now on top of being the founder and CEO of I See Me, I'm now instructional coach in Bessemer City Schools. As you said, I am a child advocate. Absolutely love children. I'm grateful that this has been a calling on my life, and I'm prayerful that God will continue to lead me in this direction that He's leading me in regards to saving our children through literacy.
Great.
You touched on something that's very important. You didn't say it, but you said it. In all thy ways, acknowledge Him,
and He should direct that path.
Yeah.
And I also want to throw this in here. So listen to that, you all. Sometimes it's okay not to listen to your parents.
Oh,
you got to go with the calling that God has on your life.
You said it. She said
Look,
it, Mom.
I said sometimes it's okay because God had assigned you for this. This was your calling. And in a way, you are nursing. You are nursing our children.
Yeah.
And literacy. Because I'm sitting here thinking, I can't imagine not being able to read and comprehend. Let me add that. I mean, it's just amazing because I grew up. My mom was an avid reader and she made sure I read. I mean, I love the library. And my kids were upset with me because I literally made them go to the library and learn how to check out books, even though technology was around. You need to know how to do this. You need to hold a real book in your hand. So look, with the I See Me, look, you had so much. When I got on this website, I was like, oh my God, okay, this is a lot. We got to try to get through. But I love this quote on your homepage. Literacy is a bridge from misery to hope. And what I imagined and what I saw in my mind is I went way back in my mind to some of our older ancestors that couldn't read, and the frustration and how, even though some of them still can read, they made it their business that their children were able to read. And I think about even me being a nurse, I had Black patients come in that had to literally mark their name with an X. And when you can't read, you got to trust someone to tell you
the
what's going
on that paper.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it really, I mean, just going through all this, Devon, it was just real emotional for me. I know all the stats about healthcare and stuff, but I didn't know all of this about literacy. And one thing that stood out for me is this here: nearly 85% of juveniles who face trial in the juvenile court system are functionally illiterate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really heavy when you think about 85% of those children. Those are those kids that are in school who cut up because they're struggling. They're talking and playing. They're suspended. They're doing everything they can because any subject that a child uh, engages in school, they're going to have to read anything. I oftentimes ask students, give me a career field you can have when you don't have to know how to read. Just give me any. There's not one. I've had some silly, ones thrown out like exotic dancers, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, okay, let's use that one. Don't you have to fill out your taxes? You gonna trust somebody to do everything for you, even your purchasing in the store? I mean, you're gonna have to know, even applying for a job, you're gonna have to know how to, period. You're gonna have to know how to do it. And so when you look at that large of number of children who are functionally illiterate, they're gonna have to grow up and become something. And most times those children are so smart. They are so intelligent, but their stumbling block is literacy. So now what do? I have a family sometimes, you have those who may have had children early. Most boys grow up, I want to take care of my mom, my family. So what do? Most times they turn to crime.
The street.
Right. They turn to crime. And that's some of what we're seeing now. Now, by no means am I saying that this is the only reason why. There are many reasons, but I know in regards to our focus is literacy. Even to know that 70% of those who are in the correctional system are functionally illiterate. They're reading on 4th grade level.
Wow.
And then to think of that 60% of those that are in there are people of color. And so that's why ICME is so important to me, is because we want to focus on those people of color, not just Black, but those who are underrepresented in children's literature. We know that literacy is the way to save those children, their communities, their families, is through literacy.
Devon, I don't know if you know this. We actually had lady, she has a set of books called Hey Carter Books. And she actually wrote them for her son as well as, and you may know Shay Curry. She grew up in Fairfield. She's written a children's book.
Okay.
And it has to, she's a psychologist, so it has to do with dealing with emotions, like my feelings are okay.
Right.
So with that, I mean, that's just almost made my heart stop. When 70% of those that are incarcerated are functional illiterate. So let me ask you this. So apparently you think it's that the parents are functional illiterate and that the kids, because all I had was books growing up. I mean, we had the Schoolhouse Rock.
Right.
We had so many things. And I'm like, how y'all playing these games?
Yeah, we and for me too, I grew up during the time as well when you had Schoolhouse Rock, you had educational programs like Reading Rainbow, which sidebar, I went to see the screening of it, the Sidewalk Film Festival, and literally was sitting there crying because it was so nostalgic to me. I used to love Reading Rainbow and seeing the kids with the books, and I wanted to be on Reading Rainbow so badly, to have the book and do one of those interviews where you're able to tell about the book that you've read to get other children to want to read it. We had those things growing up. Nowadays, you don't have those type programs that are long lasting for children. You have babies now. I remember watching a video of a baby, literally a baby, that had a magazine and thought it was an iPad and was just hitting it and was trying to turn the screen and was getting frustrated because that baby, I know what a screen looks like. I know what an iPad looks like. I know what an iPhone looks like. but an actual book, things are just so much different now. And so
Right.
sometimes it is now I know in healthcare you have things that go from, health problems that go from generation to generation, but you also have that with literacy as well,
Mhm.
or illiteracy as well. And you have organizations like the Literacy Council that's been great with working and identifying um, those parents that may struggle. And so they work with those parents, and then we partner as well and have done things with them in order to help them as far as the family is concerned. But another thing is that now the things that were acts of kids when we were younger are much different. And so I remember having parents say things like, I know my child can read. And I'm thinking, your child's in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, and the book that they're reading is a first, second grade level book, the vocabulary in it. So you're thinking they can read. They picked up this book and they're able to sound out these words. But this book is not on their level. And parents may not understand some of those things.
Okay, so they're thinking if they can read the first grade book,
They
you
can
can show
read.
them
Well, they
anything
don't
else that
even
they can.
know. Like most parents, well, how do you know? Just because there's pictures in the book doesn't necessarily mean it's a first grade level book, second grade level book. You have sixth, seventh, eighth grade level books that are picture books that have pictures. It's the vocabulary that's used. So
Yes.
as a parent, I'm seeing my child read this book, especially in the younger years. My child is reading. No, that book is way below their level. They should be reading this book on this particular level. And because they're not able to read those books, I'm sorry, because they're able to read those books, parents oftentimes confuse and think
Yeah.
they're proficient and they're not.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Someone asked a question about what kind of programs do you have, and we're going to get into that. But I want to
Okay.
talk a little bit more about these statistics. Now, this other one that was earth shattering, this statistic, 2/3, 66% of students who cannot read proficiently by the end of fourth grade will end up in jail or on welfare. Y'all, that's 66%, you all. That means only 34%.
We're gonna make it out.
Right.
We got some work to do. I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, wow. So I'm
I have a
glad you
question for
started
you.
this.
Yeah, what are the programs that mirror what you're doing are out there? Are there any?
Yes. So all of our programs connect right back to those statistics. They also, when we speak of what our mission is not only that we want them to be proficient, but we also want the children to see themselves in the literature that they're reading. So all that's connected together.
Yeah. So what I'm asking though is there another you out there?
Oh, I apologize. I thought you were asking program. Is there another me out there? Not to my knowledge.
Yeah. That's what I was asking.
In the local area, there are those who are promoting diversity in literature and promoting people seeing the children seeing their image. They call them mirrors and windows. So being able to see their mirror image in the books they're reading, but not that I could think of. And I'm not saying that there's not, but not that I could think of that's doing just this.
So you're doing some heavy lifting. And I'm glad you're here. Thank you for taking the time out. And ladies and gentlemen, for a station break, you're listening to the Val and Val Show, Conversation is Art. And we're so glad you have tuned in. We have a dynamic speaker on with us tonight, and that's Miss Frazier. She's phenomenal. So please tune in, listen, like, share, and send it over to your family members. So what I'm really getting at is because you're doing such heavy lifting, how can we as a community help resolve this issue? Because it's going to grow if we don't do something about it.
Well, one of the things you'll hear me say all the time is that it takes a village. We strongly believe that this is not something that can be done overnight, number one. And because we know sometimes you have families that struggle, parents as well, we know that it's going to take all of us. So volunteering is one thing, going into the schools, reading with children, listening. It's important that children hear others read so that they can understand what fluent reading looks like or sounds like. also hearing those vocabulary prior to them being engaged with that vocabulary, so that as they're reading, they understand it in context. That's important. We have programs where we would love to have volunteers who will come out into the schools to work with children as well. But the most important thing is that, and if you don't have that time to go into the schools financially, or donating books, those things are just as important. Going into the schools, volunteering, financially, donations, that helps tremendously, as well as donating books.
And you all, speaking of donating, I just dropped her Cash App. And also I just dropped her link to her website. You all, you gotta go on her website. I mean, it is awesome. She also has a link there where you can donate from PayPal or your debit or credit card. So you don't have an excuse how you cannot donate, okay?
Is
Because
I
this is what happens. Yeah, this
nonprofit?
is what happens.
It
You
is. It's a
all,
501c3.
we complain about things, but we don't want to be a part of the solution. And I'm not asking you to do anything I haven't done, because I've donated, period. But I'm going to get involved, actually coming to help you out with some of your programs. And since we have an educator on here who's my cousin, Javon Bentley, I'm sure she's biting at to want to get with you. But let me tell you, let's talk about your programs, because you all, these programs are off the chain. I like this Real Men Read. So tell us about that one.
So we know many of our boys may not see a book in the hands of a man. Just being honest. In the school, if you have a principal, or in most schools, sad to say, the principal or the custodian or your PE teacher, those are usually the men in the schools. Sometimes you have some males that are teachers that are in the school, but most times it's not. And so our boys don't, and our girls don't get to see a book in the hands of the man and connect that to accomplishment or success. So what we do is, once a year, we have this thing called Real Men Read, where we ask men from all walks of life. And so we've literally had men that were ex-NFL players. We had a friend of ours, of mine, that he has a tour bus company. And he brought the tour bus one year, Wale's tour bus, actually up to the school so the kids could actually see the tour bus. We've had college presidents, SWAT commissioner. We've had one of the men from Love and Marriage Hospital that have come to the school, because we want them to see these doctors. I mean, all kinds of men. We want them to see the book. Sorry.
Who did you bring from Love and Marriage Huntsville?
Don't worry about it.
It wasn't Martell, was it?
It was not.
Okay. That's my boy anyway.
I was just picking with you. But we want these boys to see books in the hands of a man. So it's so beautiful to walk in and you see hundreds of men that are in this room with these hundreds of boys. And we always task them with, you've heard of taking someone under your wing. We ask the men to actually go over, take a young man under their wing. They go up, they choose a book, and they sit and they read the book together. And through that reading, then discussion goes into, this is what I do for a living. This is how literacy is connected to what it is that I do. I couldn't have gotten here if I couldn't have done XYZ, all because I can read. And if we don't, our children can't be what they don't see. And if we don't put people like that in front of them,
right,
and have them understand how literacy is so connected, what reason do I have to even want to know how to read?
True. So y'all, you heard that? That's Real Men Read. So moving on down the list, Just Us Girls.
Yes, Just Us Girls is actually one of my faves.
I can tell.
It's fun. It's so much fun.
Add me to your Real Men Read.
I'm sorry.
Add me to your Real Men Read.
Oh, most definitely. Now, let me say this now. Don't just say that, because when you say that, I will add you and I will call.
And I'll respond.
Oh, Valter has a love for he's a child advocate too.
Well, thank you. Well, I appreciate that.
Sure.
So Just Us Girls is a program that is kind of the mirror of sort of Real Men Read is just not as elaborate. And so basically during COVID, what it looked like was we have these little boxes with Just Us Girls and a theme every Just Us Girls. So like one of the ones we had was the Me I See, and it was about self-esteem and self-awareness. And each one of the books connected to just that. So one of the books connected to hair. It was called Don't Touch My Hair. And we had Eunice Elliott, and she talked about the how she felt wearing her hair naturally when she was on the news, and the comments and things that she got in regards to that. We had one Zoe, who is written. The book is written by and I always say her name wrong, so I won't try to butcher it. But from Black Panther, Napita Nyong'o.
Napita. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Napita. That's called Napita. That's what we do.
But her book is on colorism.
Okay.
And so that was one of the books. And then the last one was I'm Enough. And each one of the books was read by an author. I mean, not by an author, by a guest reader. And we had a DJ. DJ Chocolate played music between the readers. And we had a connecting activity. So each child received a canvas and paints. And so between each book, when it was Don't Touch My Hair, they were able to paint their hair.
Okay.
When the book of colorism, they colored their skin tone, eyes, made a little mini me. And at the top was a line. So for I Am Enough, they had an affirmation that they painted on the top of that canvas. And at the end, they were able to keep that, hang it up in their room to see themselves, to remind themselves how beautiful and important they are as well. But each book, each Just Us Girls connects back to a particular theme.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. Look, you all, I'm gonna be dropping this Cash App every other
Thank you.
because you all $10, 15, 20, it adds up.
It does.
Whatever you're able to give. And let me say this, you're able to give more than you think you can give. Just don't eat out at McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and all that other stuff this week.
As we like to say from the pulpit, give to the hurts.
Because look, it ain't giving until it's hurt. It ain't sacrificing. Okay. Now let's talk about First Library.
Mm-hmm. So statistics show that the number of books in the home is one of the number one indicators of student success in regards to literacy. Okay. So what we do is we have these little book bags, and we put 5 what we call mirror books. Well, 4 mirror books and 1 window book. And if you want to know again what mirror and window books are those books where children can see their own likeness. And window books are books where they can read about other cultures and other people. Those books are just as important because that's where we build empathy and empathy and understanding about one another. And so they get those mirror and window books, as well as a little reading buddy, little toy, and a few other goodies in this bag. And we go down. Lately, we've been going into the Black Belt. So we've been to Wilcox County, Macon, Dallas County, Montgomery, Mobile, and also areas in the past here in Fairfield, Midfield, and Bessemer as well. And we gift these children during December. We give them the gift of literacy, and they receive these books to start their own home libraries. And so we intentionally go to schools that have preschools and kindergartens, and we gift their entire kindergarten and preschool with those books.
So you're gonna be doing that this December?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so y'all put that on your shopping list.
So what do you need? What do you need for that?
Books.
You just need books of any kind.
Yes. If you go to Amazon, and we have a link on Amazon that's a wish list with books that you can go to. If you don't know those books, you can't think of a book, you just go and click books that we've already chosen. But we purposefully ask for books that are represent children who are underrepresented in children's literature. And what I mean by that is that most children would read about an animal before they see their own likeness in a book.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
it's very important that our children see themselves not only in books, and I hate to say it like this, but in suffer books. And I call them that because they need to understand we are, yes, we've had a past, and that's just as important to understand and know. But our children also need to see themselves doing things that any other child does.
Overcome.
Right, that we've overcome those things, and they need to understand by reading those books that, the same book where you may see a white child playing baseball or at a park or at a beach, Black children are doing those same things and have those same type experiences. Hispanic children have those same experiences, Asian children, so on. So as of, I think it was 2020, only 12% of books, children's books, featured children of color. Well, not children of color, but Black children. 9% for Asian and 6% of Latinx children were able to see their likeness in books. So it's very important that those children are able to have those opportunities.
Okay.
Interesting.
On Amazon, what is it under? Because I'm gonna drop the link.
It should be under IC Me Inc. I try to keep everything.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for. That's awesome. I mean, you got some serious program. Now I like this one. This last one. It's not the last one. You got some other stuff, but this one right here. Crown Me.
Yes, I'm sorry. Crown Me.
Crown Me.
So Crown Me, I was trying to look up that link. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
But, Crown Me is another one of my faves. What we do is we go into the schools and ask those schools to point out those children who are low proficient and need that extra encouragement to read. And so every month they're gifted with a book, a mirror book, and they're tasked with practicing those books the entire month. So we ask the principal to work with them, to go in and just kind of check on them, to kind of maybe go one day or two to go in maybe the lunchroom with them and read. We ask the reading specialist to do the same thing. And then we have volunteers, lunch buddies that go in and they read with them as well. At the end of the month, if they're able to read those books to proficiency, they're crowned with a free haircut. So we have barbers that come in and they give them these haircuts. The importance of that is that we all feel good when we get our hair done, haircuts and everything. We want these children to have that same feeling that they feel when they get this haircut, when they're now able to read this book.
Okay, great. I'm typing in that mirror in the window what that definition is. So I'm typing this stuff in our chat box because we gonna educate people. So you all can go back later on, look at this again, and look in these chat notes as well as share with other people later on. Because look, we're gonna do something about this illiteracy. I'm just like, it just shuddered me. I was thinking my kids were very fluent in reading probably by the time they were 3. But that's because they had books. They had books before they were born.
Yeah.
And I'll tell there are companies that do this, you all. It's probably much cheaper than what I did. I actually had a book made for both of my children with their pictures, and it was about them. It was their books for them about themselves and how great they were and how important they couldn't even read the book at the time I had them made. But it was very important for me because, as you said, there were no books.
Yeah.
With any
I want you
children
to think really quickly what age you were or what grade were you in when you first saw your likeness in a book?
I probably was grown. I'm gonna be honest. In a true book. Probably with my children when I really think about it.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Audience, you all need to think about that as well and see how important this conversation that we're having with the Dr. Frazier.
It's the same things with toys, with dolls. Now I can't remember. Let me tell y'all what my first likeness in a doll was. And I'm finna date myself really well.
Oh Lord.
The Flip Wilson doll.
Was that a doll?
Yes. And it had Geraldine on one side and the Flip Wilson character.
Wow.
It had a pull rope.
Wow.
That was my first black doll.
You know what? I'm kind of remembering that.
Yes, and I look, every other dog went out the door because it was a brown dog like me, and it was major. It was
But
really major.
well, you may need to tell her who Flip Wilson is.
I do know who Flip
She know
Wilson
who
Oh,
Flip
is.
was.
okay. I didn't know.
Her folks from Atmore. She know who
Well, I
Fremont is. She
thought.
know
Well,
who
she
Flip
looks like
Wilson.
she's 20 years old. So.
I'll take that. Thank you.
I'm like, why are we talking to this baby?
I will take that. I appreciate that. That means I started teaching when I was 1, and I'll take that.
All right. I'm
Okay,
looking
now-
for this Amazon piece. I don't see it on
Yeah,
ICB.
tell Amazon you need to be more searchable, easier. So look, while you can look it up, and if you can shoot it to me in the email, Devon,
Okay.
I'll put it out there. But I'm looking at some of your programs that you have. Look like you have them annually, correct?
Yes. Yes. We
Okay,
have
the
some
I
that
See
go-
Me book drive. When do you
Mhm.
have that? That's in December?
We'll start. No, the book drive will begin next month.
Okay.
And again, those those books are some of the ones that we use when we go into the black belts and give those.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we need those books really when you go into the black
Mhm.
belt. So you all book drive next month. If you don't want to buy books, you can hit that cash out. She'll buy them for you. Okay, no excuse.
So, are you visiting fraternity houses, sorority houses, and talking to them about providing you some books for this drive?
Well, my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, held a book drive, and I'm so grateful for the book drive that they held. We were able to get 222 books through Delta Sigma Theta, the Jefferson County Alumni Chapter. So I'm so grateful to them for that.
Good.
Good. I see that you're a noob.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I think it will be absolutely amazing.
So
if you
what
all
we got to do is challenge all the frats. We got to challenge the Divine Nine.
Well, let's do that now.
We can do that.
We need to do that. We need to
Hey,
challenge
I'm
the
having
Divine
sorority.
Nine.
I'll be at sorority meeting Saturday. I make sure I bring it.
Hey, I say bring it up.
Yeah. And we'll provide a gift for the Divine Nine who raises the most capital or provides the most books.
Yes, the gift will be bragging rights because we're so grateful.
I'm speaking from my organization. We'll provide.
Yeah. Valter got plenty of money.
Okay.
No. Don't do that, Valerie. You have people putting chat stuff in there in a minute.
They'll be asking you for
Hey, Val, I'm still financing this movie, okay?
Hey, listen. The Bank of Valton.
Yeah, whatever.
It's closed to loans.
Exactly. Except to the children.
Okay, so book drive next month.
Yep. So Valerie,
and
remind
these
me
books
that.
are going to go to the black belt. Okay, so the book drive. Now let's talk about. You had a summit.
Yes.
So is that going to be annual as well?
It will be. It will be the last Wednesday and Thursday in June.
Okay.
So save the date. I think that's the 21st and 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. But the literacy summit is not geared towards just educators. Oftentimes when you hear that, you just automatically think, oh, this is something for teachers, and it's not. It's for the village. And so at the one we had this past year, which was absolutely amazing, it was better than I could have ever fathomed. We had educators there. We had grandparents and aunts and parents and community leaders that was there at this summit. And each one of these sessions were intentionally chosen so that those who attended could walk away with something that they could go back home and either do with their children or educate the community. We had Dr. Frazier Harper Darrington, and that talked about the underrepresentation of children of color being diagnosed with dyslexia and how huge that is. I'm quite sure many of those that are incarcerated now may have had dyslexia and never were diagnosed with it. So that's major. We also had Yvette Mans that were there that on strategies they can use at home when reading with their children. We also had Parker that was there that went over the data, that went over the stats so they can understand what their our state looks like and why in regards to literacy. And then which was just fun, just amazing to me, we had Dr. Tracy Whedon, which talked about transforming the family tree through literacy. And it's also Karen Parsons, which is Hillary for Fresh Prince. She has a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which focuses on telling those little known Black history stories to the community. And so she came and spoke as well.
Oh, hold on. Look, Mama can't stop being Mama. I got to put this up. Mama said, mention the Literacy Act.
And she texted me, to be honest with you, and I'm thinking, Mama, let me answer these questions. Let me get to that. But you're right. I think we just need to bring Mama on in. Where's Mama?
Well, pull her in. Tell her.
I know. Let Mama
the link, Valerie. Valerie, send Miss Cynthia the link. Bring her in.
Let me see. Let me make sure. Do I have?
Why she gonna type something to me like, no.
Yes, come on now.
No, Cynthia, Diane Fisher Frazier, come on in.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I got her right here.
Fisher, related to Cheryl out of Inslee, Cheryl Fisher. No, okay. Look at her. She says no. Come on now. You got to come on now.
These Fishers from Atmore. Get it right. Freemanville community. Don't get it twisted.
Exactly.
Don't get it twisted.
No, Mama. If you gonna put something in the chat box, come on in the room, ma'am.
Come on in the room. Eleanor says no. Who's Eleanor?
That's my aunt.
Oh God.
They're sisters. I know, right?
I see.
Thank you, family. I love.
I know, right? At least they're listening. And don't only listen on the night in which your family member is on, please, Fishers. Please join us every Thursday at 7 p.m.
Exactly.
The Valentine Show.
Support for sure. For sure. Now let's talk about this. Brews for Books.
Wait a minute. She said it again, Valerie. Talk about the Literacy Act, doggone it. I'm ready to go to bed.
Oh, well, talk about the Literacy Act so Mama can go to bed. Then we'll talk about Brews for Books. Girl, she acting just like Atmore for real now, ain't she?
Will she stop? I mean, okay. Okay, so they both watched before. So thank you all for being on before and watching. So at my mother's request, the Literacy Act. So the Literacy Act was passed in 2019. What how we have to start a story. What happened was that at one point in time, the state of Alabama were seeing strides in regards to literacy. The legislators took money from what was called the Alabama Reading Initiative, where we had reading specialists and our reading coaches in the schools. We had those from the State Department was coming down to support the reading specialists. It was like this chain to help our children become more proficient readers. All the teachers went through a training. It was just great. So when money was taken away from that, Mississippi took what we did and a little piece of what someone else did. And now Mississippi students are ahead of our kids in regards to literacy, which made our legislators go back to the drawing board and think, oh no, let's go back and re-examine this. So now through the Literacy Act, we have what's called the third grade retention. So if our children are not reading on grade level by third grade, they can run the risk of failure.
Even though they pass every other course.
Well, I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, if they're struggling in literacy is connected to everything they're doing. So if they're struggling with reading, most likely they're going to struggle with everything else, because you have to know how to read to be able to do any of those other things. And so when they take their assessments, which they're going to have to read in order to take the assessment, if they're not able to show that they're proficient, they can fail. Now, with that being said, they do have some things in the act that's written so that because everyone's not a good test taker, that could help our children. Things like a teacher could prove that the child have mastered these different standards by providing a portfolio and showing this is the work this child has done. Bam. If you have a child that is an English language learner, then again, that child is okay. If you have a child that maybe in exceptional education, that child, those are those good faith options that will help our children. However, if the child cannot proficiently pass that test, then that child could ultimately fail. Now, with the act, it also, because it takes, as my mom said again, it takes a village. One of the things that is also written in the act is that the school will test those children throughout the year, 3 times throughout the year, to check their growth. When they're tested, if they have an area of weakness, they have to come in. The parent has to come in for a conference to create what's called a student reading improvement plan, which is a SRIP. When the children come in, when the parent come in for that meeting, it's kind of like a child that would have an IEP meeting. When they come in, the school is to say, hey, this is where your child has scored. These are their interferences. Here are some things at home you can do with your child to help your child progress. Now, some of the problem that I have there is that you have many parents who are going to come home, get that pack or whatever sent home, sit down, and they're not going to pick it back up. That's number one. Number two, if the parent struggles, they are not going to try to attempt to read this. And I get emails, text messages, phone calls from people all the time asking what can they do, or asking for strategies and things like that to do. So that's why it's so important. Even before we did the literacy summit, we had what we call the Big Five workshop for parents. And so we had parents that came in and we showed them based off of the Big Five, meaning those different things that build a proficient reader. So you have phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary fluency, that all leads to comprehension. And so we had a session for each one of the part of the Big Five, where parents came and were able to walk away with strategies they could use at home to help their child. Again, that could, right back to it takes a village. Grandma, we need grandmas to help, uncles to help, cousins to help. All of us need to know what's being asked of our children so that they're not being set up for failure. If we all know basically what the game plan, what the map looks like, then we can go home or into our communities, help our children so that when they're in school, they're ready. They need, the teachers are doing it all that they can and more. And it's frustrating and it's hard on educators because you have this act and they're doing everything that they can. They need the support of the village. Huge, big time need the support of the village. If any time is ever, they need the support of the village.
Okay, Lord, Mississippi don't pass us. That's shameful. But just today, I heard next year, I believe, is changing. In order for you to graduate now, you got to have an advanced degree or show some special classes you've taken. That was on the news today, and I was thinking, no, these kids can't read. So why are we're making it even harder for them?
Is that like the exit exam or something?
Yeah, well, what it is they want you to come out with a skill ready. But I'm like, if you can't read, the entrance is not working, and you're making the exit harder. But that's supposed to start next year, effective next year.
So basically, that's what they're trying to do now. Build our kids up so by the time they get there, they're fine. You have a numeracy act that's coming out soon as well, that these children are proficient in math. Same thing. We're asking a lot of our kids and a lot of our teachers, and the community is looking at the schools thinking, okay, teachers, okay, schools. Now for me as an educator, as a parent, as a founder of a nonprofit organization, I'm not looking at the village. Okay, village, your help.
Yeah.
We sit back anymore and point our fingers at the school. It takes all of us, every last one of us. Again, if you can't give your time, you can give your money. If you can't give your money, you can donate something. It's some type of way that you can become involved in the community with these children in order to ensure that literacy is not a stumbling block for our kids.
And I'm dropping this back in the chat again. I had done it earlier, but it says here 6 extra minutes of reading per day can help struggling readers meet or surpass their grade benchmark. Y'all, 6 minutes, y'all.
Yeah.
6 minutes. So that means you got to put down the games, you got to turn off the TV, and you got to get these kids literate. I mean, you need to be able to read.
Yeah.
You have got to be able to read.
We just pushed a 20 for 20 at the beginning of the school year. The beginning of any school year is very important. The first 20 days is vital in the school. So we wanted it to be just as important at home, with the hopes of building something that children would do at home with their parents, which is reading for 20 minutes for every night. Just 20 minutes. It could be a bedtime. I remember growing up, I so vividly remember my mom, and if she's still on here, Mom, I remember. My mom read me bedtime stories.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that, and it was so much fun. I loved bedtime stories when I was
reading when I was reading to my daughters. Yeah.
Those things, though, and it's important. Mm-hmm. It's important. Oh, I thought it was my mom again. It's so important that we read to our. They need to hear us read. They need to see you read.
Right.
See you read. I remember my daughter. I read to my daughter when she was little. I have a picture of my daughter got these books and she connected them all together where it was like a little house. And she put her dolls inside of it. And I'm like, baby, what is this? And she said, it's a house with words so that the dolls could read all the words around them.
Wow.
So it was important to her even then because she got books for gifts. She got books in the mail every month. She was so grateful. Excited about reading and about books growing up. And so we have to put that same interest back in our kids, even if if your kids are older and you're cooking dinner. As you're cooking, tell them, okay, turn off the TV, sit in here and read this book to me.
Right. We used to get books in the mail too, those Archie books.
Yeah.
Y'all remember those little paperback books and all that sort of stuff? Those were really cool.
And too, the Reader Digest,
Reader's Digest. Yep.
Stack for those. And I know for my son
Jet
now.
Magazine, the Ebony, all that stuff.
What I discovered with my son, and I'm not saying this with all males, but it wasn't a lot that he was going to read, but he loved those Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So if they like something,
let them read
just
it.
buy all of them. And I know for me, I read every Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys book that's ever been made because I love murder. I still like mystery. Okay. Mm-hmm. And even now, when we go on road trips, they already know. Y'all can act like I'm not in truck with y'all because I got me 2 good books. That's even going to Atmore. My husband one time said, he said, Valerie, he said, you read the back of toilet paper. I say, Terrell, you do realize sometimes they put historical or informational stuff on a lot of these things. Things are packaged in. A lot of people don't know that.
My aunt would get romance novels, and she would read that book from Birmingham all the way to Atmore. She always had a book, and I'm quite sure she probably has a new one right now, or she's rereading a book that she's already read. She was an avid reader as well, and so seeing that growing up, seeing your parents read or understanding that the importance of it is vital to our children. Is what my aunt's saying. Yes.
Yeah.
It's vital to our children. So not only seeing the parents, they need to see the community and see others that are reading as well, and know that that it's important for them to see themselves. It's important for them to have those books in their homes. And the statistics, they prove it.
For real. Now look, let's talk about Brews for Books since we got Mom's Literacy Act out the way.
All right.
So tell us about that.
So we're so grateful for Back 40, which is located in Avondale. Every year they release a beer called Bridge to Hope, which goes back to the quote that you quoted earlier. That's on our website. and they release this beer every year, and monies that are come from the purchase of that beer is donated to ICME. And so we call that the Brews for Books. And we're so grateful to have that partnership with.
Well, I know you can get the fraternities to do that.
And where is it going to be?
Well, it's once a year. It's already passed. But I will let you all know when that happens. But again, it's a beer that they I'm so sorry. It's a beer.
Who is that? Curtis?
Yeah. It's a beer. Yeah. It's a beer that is released every year. That is the funds or the proceeds from that beer is donated straight to ICME. So great.
Well, we're glad that Curtis has popped in and said, you rock, right? Is that Train and Burn Fitness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curtis. All right, Curtis, we put you up here on the screen. Now you got to send us a check for advertisement.
I don't know what Mom is saying. But you know what, Valton and Devon, I just thought about you all. The classic is coming up. Yeah. All of these fraternity sororities are going to have tents out there. Mm-hmm. We need to start soliciting everybody, bring a book. I agree. Tell them what we need or take donations.
Yeah, you know what? I think what probably would be an even better idea coupled with that is not bring the book to the field, because somebody will be responsible for taking them out to put them in a vehicle.
We take cash.
You know what I mean? So let's talk to the fraternities and sororities. Let's make a plan, and then we go forward with that plan. And all the ideas that we're getting and speaking of are great ideas.
Yeah, because we can share it out there even if we don't collect anything. Let them know, and even with the cash out.
Right. Hey. And by the way, Devon, my daughter's a Delta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She pledged down in UA. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, we have had a fabulous time learning about ICME Inc., knowing that it is a functioning business and is really helping our children to overcome illiteracy. Our time is drawing nigh, huh?
I'm sorry. Can I add one thing before?
We'll give you time enough to do everything you got to do before we close out. I'm just letting everybody know that we appreciate you for joining in and listening and watching us on Facebook, YouTube, on the Conversation is Art series, The Val and Val Show. Yes, ma'am.
And before we close, I want to draw attention to the logo that's on my shirt. And so the profile of this boy on my shirt is George Steiny. He was actually the youngest to be executed in the 21st century because of the fact that supposedly he murdered 2 little girls. Now, this was a child. He was 15 years old, small in stature, outside playing, saw 2 little white girls that asked him where to pick some flowers. He pointed to where to pick them, and later they found their bodies and blamed this little boy. Well, they held him and they questioned him until he finally just said, okay, I did it, of course.
Yeah.
I think that his trial may have lasted maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and he was sentenced to death. He was so small in stature that they had to sit him upon books to raise him up so that he could sit with the electric chair, the hood on his head, in order for them to execute him. Our feeling and thought is that those same books that they use to raise him up to take his life, we want to use those same books to raise our children up to save their life.
Oh,
so
wow,
this is very profound in regards to our logo.
Wow. Oh, that was chilling, Devon. That was chilling. I can't say that.
They put books under him.
Yeah.
They put books under him
to raise him up so that he would be high enough to reach the hood when they took his life.
Wow.
I'm looking at him now.
I am, and I'm putting a link. I'm putting a link in here.
And so we want to ensure that we do that same thing. We're raising our children, doing that to take their life. We want to save their lives. And so we know that, again, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. it's going to take some time to see a change in our community, but we do know that literacy is one of those key components that's needed in order to save our children.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, we will definitely have you back.
Thank you.
We'll definitely have you back.
And definitely following you. And when you have your events, make sure you get shared to our page. And listen, people, there's no use in you sitting at the house talking about how awful things are getting. Oh, our children this, oh, our children that. If you are not willing
I agree.
to help them. And, we talk about how bad the kids are. We need to ask where they get it from. We talk about how they act. I see adults acting sometimes worse. So we can't blame them for everything. And it's something, look, I'm from the country. I'm going to give y'all a country saying. Mary McMillan used to say, you got to bend a sapling while it's young, because when it become a tree, you cannot change it.
Wise young. I use that expression today.
You did. You have to. You can't change the direction after they're 14 and 15 if you don't give them the direction when they're 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, we
So
got
we
to
got
really young.
That's what happened to you. You froze. Big time. You back. No, he still froze. But anyway, we enjoyed you. We would definitely be having you back. I mean, this has been something.
I've enjoyed.
Yes. So listen, Atmore and Freemanville, I know y'all proud. Cynthia, I know you extremely proud. What's your dad's first name? I can't remember. Ronald. I know you're Papa proud too, and I am too, because she's from my hometown. Listen, y'all just don't know. Y'all call us country, but baby, Atmore put out some trailblazers. We got some trailblazers in our seed, even though they were born and raised in Birmingham. They doing awesome things. My daughter, like you, she's a publicist, but she's heavy into Girls Inc. and all that in Dallas. I mean, she's like, Mama, I gotta help save these babies.
Exactly.
Got to. Yeah, look, Mama said, look, I'm gonna put this up so she can see this. Yes, I am Freemanville.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is some of the things you got. Great job. Awesome conversation. And now, hold on, y'all, before I close this out one more time. Y'all giving out this love. He's back now. I'm finna drop this cash out again.
Drop that cash, y'all.
That's right. Before you listen, get y'all phones out now.
And you know what, Valerie, I think what we need to do also, we would like to encourage you all to add this to your monthly giving. Even if it's $10 a month, that's $120 for the year. And we get enough people to do that, then that will help move this project along a lot faster and give her the support that she needs. So
yeah,
let me put a tickler on my calendar to do that myself.
Thank you.
And
so I dropped the website again, which also has more ways to give, as well as you can read more details about her programs and see the people that have come in. And I know I forgot one thing that we got to talk about this. The Wednesdays, something Wednesdays. What is it? Read Aloud Wednesdays? Is that what it
we
was
read
called?
Wednesday. So
okay,
that started during COVID. We asked those throughout the community to come in. We recorded them doing a read aloud, so that when children was home, that they were continuously hearing that someone reading to them. So it was We Read Wednesdays.
Okay, that's great. Well, look, we thank you, Valta.
Yes.
It's been great.
Absolutely.
This was awesome.
It's been wonderful.
This was awesome. This is probably one of my favorite, because this is dear to my heart with our children.
So this has been
really enjoyed.
We've enjoyed you. This has been a great conversation in art, as we like to call it.
Yes.
And we'll definitely have you back on. I did make a calendar note about that contribution monthly. And I'm encouraging everyone to do that. And we will, Valerie and I will circle back to you privately so that we can make a plan on how to mobilize this throughout the Divine Nine. And,
for sure.
See what we can do. Okay.
Most definitely, for sure.
But ladies and gentlemen, we are so glad that you have joined us tonight for the Conversation is Art, the Val and Val Show. We know we have gone 4 minutes over your time, and we apologize for that. But we think that it has been very fruitful. And Devon, we have been very grateful for having you and your mom and family members to join in and say hello. Hey, mom, auntie, sister, brothers, and everybody else in the world.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, okay. Cynthia, you can
Absolutely.
go to bed now.
Yeah, and I must say that Valerie has done a phenomenal job in orchestrating all of this. She really is the whiz behind my coming on. The only thing I do is come on here and talk. She really schedules everybody, talks to folks, sets it up, because I just don't have the acumen to do it. I got so much other stuff to do. So, you know,
You
that's
got
what we do.
enough.
Yeah.
But anyway,
No,
you all, tentatively, Dr. Coleman is supposed to be on next week. Hopefully he does not have a conflict. And if he is, it'll be understanding dementia and its impact on the family. If he's not, you have a surprise guest.
yeah, we'll bring somebody from the cast on or something like that.
Yeah.
But hold the line, if you will.
Okay,
And
y'all
ladies
have a
and
good
gentlemen,
night.
Y'all take good care. Enjoy your weekend and be prayerful.